As people grow older, they often assume that having a life partner will bring them comfort, companionship, and security. Society has always portrayed relationships as the foundation of happiness, especially in later years. However, the reality is often more complicated. While some couples continue to support each other and enjoy a fulfilling bond, many others find that their relationships become more of a burden than a blessing. As the years pass, emotional exhaustion, loss of independence, financial stress, and the overwhelming responsibility of caregiving can take a serious toll on an individual's well-being. The idea that a person must have a partner to feel secure or happy in old age is not always true. In fact, many elderly people find that they experience greater peace and fulfillment when they choose to live alone, free from the obligations and compromises that relationships require. It is important to recognize that staying in a relationship out of habit, fear, or social pressure is not always the best decision. Instead, people should reflect on whether their relationship genuinely adds value to their life or if it is slowly draining their energy and happiness. Understanding the challenges that relationships bring in later years can help individuals make informed choices that truly serve their well-being. One of the biggest challenges that relationships present in old age is the emotional burden of constant compromise. When people are younger, they naturally adapt to their partner's preferences, schedules, and habits to maintain harmony. This willingness to compromise is often seen as a necessary part of love and partnership. However, as people age, their patience for unnecessary stress and sacrifices tends to decrease. Older individuals begin to value their peace and personal preferences more than they once did. Small disagreements, such as what to eat, where to go, or how to spend free time, can feel much more draining than they did in earlier years. Over time, these compromises add up, leaving individuals feeling as though they have lost their own identity within the relationship. For many, this realization comes too late, after years or even decades of putting their partner's needs ahead of their own. The truth is that, at a certain point in life, no one should feel obligated to sacrifice their happiness just to accommodate another person's expectations. Instead, they should have the freedom to live as they choose, without feeling weighed down by the emotional demands of a relationship that may no longer bring them joy. Another major downside of being in a relationship in old age is the loss of independence and personal freedom. One of the greatest rewards of aging is finally reaching a stage where a person can live life on their own terms. After decades of working, raising children, and fulfilling various responsibilities, older individuals have earned the right to prioritize themselves. However, being in a relationship often means that a person's choices remain tied to someone else's needs, expectations, and limitations. Simple things, such as deciding where to go on vacation, how to structure the day, or what hobbies to pursue, require discussion and agreement. While this may not seem like a major issue at first, it can slowly wear down a person's sense of individuality. Many elderly people do not even realize how much their independence has been shaped by their partner's habits and preferences over the years. When they finally experience solitude, whether through the loss of a partner or by choosing to live alone, they often discover an unexpected sense of relief. The joy of waking up with no obligations, making decisions without explaining them to anyone, and living with complete peace is something that many people do not fully appreciate until they have it. True independence is not just about being physically alone. It is about having the ability to live without unnecessary constraints and to make choices based solely on what brings personal happiness. In addition to the loss of independence, many elderly individuals experience emotional exhaustion from maintaining long-term relationships. While relationships provide companionship, they also require ongoing emotional effort. Over time, many couples fall into routines where one person constantly reassures, apologizes, or adjusts their emotions to keep the relationship balanced. These small emotional efforts, which might have felt normal in earlier years, can become overwhelming in later life. As people age, their energy levels decrease, and their desire for peace increases. Yet, many find themselves stuck in the habit of managing their partner's emotions, worrying about their feelings, and trying to maintain harmony, even when it comes at the cost of their own well-being. The harsh truth is that emotional exhaustion does not always come from dramatic arguments or major conflicts. More often, it stems from the ongoing, subtle pressure to make sure the other person is happy. This kind of emotional labor can leave an elderly person feeling trapped, unable to fully relax and enjoy their later years. In contrast, those who choose to be alone often experience a newfound sense of clarity and freedom. Without the constant need to consider another person's emotions, they can finally focus on their own happiness without guilt or obligation. Perhaps one of the most difficult aspects of long-term relationships in old age is the responsibility of caregiving. When people think about growing old with a partner, they often imagine companionship, love, and mutual support. However, they do not always consider the harsh reality that comes when one partner's health declines. When this happens, the other partner often takes on the role of a caregiver, a responsibility that can be both physically and emotionally overwhelming. At first, caregiving may seem manageable, helping with small tasks, reminding a partner to take medications, and providing emotional support. But as time goes on, the demands often increase, leaving the caregiver exhausted, stressed, and unable to care for themselves properly. Many elderly caregivers suffer from sleep deprivation, anxiety, and even serious health problems due to the overwhelming nature of looking after a sick partner. The sad reality is that by the time one partner passes away, the other is often left in worse health than they would have been if they had remained independent. Even in relationships where both partners are still healthy, there is often a constant worry about the other person's well-being. The emotional weight of making sure a partner eats well, takes medication, and attends medical appointments can be mentally exhausting. Many seniors who choose to live independently avoid this burden entirely, allowing them to focus on their own health and well-being, without the stress of managing another person's decline. Finally, relationships in old age often bring financial and emotional strain that many people do not anticipate. When two people live together, their financial lives become intertwined. In some cases, one partner may have greater financial security than the other, leading to an unspoken expectation of financial support. This can result in unexpected expenses, arguments over money, and even stress related to medical bills or shared living costs. Some elderly individuals enter new relationships later in life, only to find themselves financially responsible for their partner's needs. In more extreme cases, they may also be expected to help with their partner's family obligations, such as supporting adult children or covering unexpected expenses. Instead of enjoying their retirement savings and living comfortably, they find themselves under financial pressure. Beyond money, there is also the emotional strain that comes from managing financial disagreements. Disputes over spending habits, inheritance, and long-term care expenses can create resentment between partners, turning what was supposed to be a peaceful stage of life into one filled with tension. In contrast, those who remain independent maintain full control over their financial future. They have the freedom to spend their money as they choose, save without guilt, and make financial decisions based solely on their own needs and priorities. Ultimately, aging should be about peace, not stress. While companionship can be beautiful, it is not always necessary for happiness. Many people stay in relationships simply because they fear being alone, not because the relationship truly brings them joy. However, true fulfillment in old age comes from having the freedom to live life without unnecessary burdens. It is important for each individual to reflect on whether their relationship enhances their life or takes away from it. If a relationship feels more like an obligation than a source of happiness, it may be time to consider whether independence would bring greater peace. Society often teaches people that they need a partner to be happy, but this is not always the case. Sometimes the greatest gift a person can give themselves in old age is the freedom to live on their own terms, making choices that truly bring them joy.